After today's video, you're going to be able to play 5 licks in the style of Duane Allman, and it will transform your slide playing and to make you an all-around better musician. So let's get into it. So the first thing you got to understand about Duane Allman's style is, one, he's in open E tuning for his slide playing, with the exception of songs like Dreams and Mountain Jam, but those songs are more outliers, even though they're wonderful. So we're in open E tuning, so from the 6th to the 1st string, I am tuned E, B, E, G sharp, B, and E, okay? And that's the tuning right there. As far as to get the sound, you preferably want some tube amp distortion. So right now I'm using a 57 Fender Champ plug-in, and I have the volume set to about 2 o'clock. You don't really want it any higher than, let's say, like 9 or 10 o'clock, because then you're just going to get really distorted and squash distortion, and that's not really conducive to Duane's style. Duane's style, although distorted, still had a lot of clarity and punch. If you have too much distortion, you're just going to sound too compressed, and you're actually going to drown yourself in the mix of the overall band. So you want to be distorted, but not overly distorted, and you want some clarity in your playing. So with my guitar, I have it set to 10, although you could probably turn it down as low as like 7 or 8. And then I have my tone knob set to about 5 or 6, just to help cut back on the treble a little bit. Also, you don't need these two things, but I also have an exotic EP booster just to round out my tone a little bit, help smooth out the highs. Don't even really use it necessarily for the boost factor as much as the EQ that comes built into the pedal. Duane was also known to use an Echoplex or the preamp in the Echoplex in the studio just to help beef up his tone a little bit. Just because sometimes he would play through these Fender tube amps like the blackface ones that could sound thin in some situations. And just because I like reverb, I have my Strymon Flint V2, and I have, the reverb on with that with the 60s type. So that's my settings right there, but the most important thing is playing through an amp that allows you to have natural tube distortion. If you can't get that, use some type of overdrive pedal, like a blues driver or something like that. My main piece of advice with that is just make sure you dial back the tone knob quite a bit. Just get that really warm, silky sound that Duane would get. And don't go too heavy on distortion. Probably don't go, much higher than like 2 o'clock, I would say. So kind of the same as like your amp. But yeah, that's how you would get his tone. So let's get into the overall technique of it. So Duane was known to use this E minor pentatonic blues box. And that started with Elmore James. There was probably some other guys that used that box as well, but Elmore really popularized it, and Duane continued on the same path, and eventually guys like Derek Trucks picked it up too. So the blues box right here, once I tune my guitar to open E, I'm going to play everything based around this 12th fret area. So starting from the 6th string at the 12th fret, I'm going to play that. Then on the 5th string, I'm going to play frets 8, 10, and 12. On the 4th string, 10 and 12. 3rd string, just one note, 11. And then 2nd string, 10, 12. And then 1st string, 10, 12. So the intervals would be 12, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, root, and then it just starts over again. And the notes themselves would be E, G, A, B, D, and then starting over at E again. So just looking at that right there kind of gives you an idea of why people use open tunings. As you can see, everything is mostly within this 2 fret area, with the exception of that note at the 8th fret on the 5th string. But other than that, everything's in this 2 fret area. So even if you just mess around with that idea using a slide, just going. So even if you just do that, that's going to get you in the ballpark of Duane's sound right away. You know, I'd say probably like 75% of his licks live within this 2-fret area. Obviously, you know, there are exceptions to that, but, you know, that's the meat of his playing right there. It's really harmonica-like in the way you approach it. So, very cool. So let's dig into those licks. So the first lick begins on the 12th fret of the first string, and I do a backward slide to the 10th fret without picking again. So, and then I hit the second string at the 12th fret straight, don't slide into it at all. And then on the first string, I slide from the 10th to the 12th. So the entire lick right there is, all right, so very simple. So in context with, like, you know, shuffle thing. Okay. So the second lick follows a similar idea, just different frets. So the lick begins on the 12th fret of the second string, and I'm sliding backwards to the 10. And then on the third string, I'm starting from that 11th fret, that flat third, and then I'm sliding up to the 12th fret. So going. So you notice after I do that slide from 12 to 10, I mute the second string so I can position my slide to the 11th fret without getting extra string noise, and I slide into the 12th. And that note at the 12th fret is not in that minor pentatonic box, but that's the major third of the E scale right there. So that's important just because even though, you know, a lot of blues licks are predominantly in minor pentatonic, there's, you know, a lot of like kind of flirting between that flat third and that major third. That's really characteristic of the blues right there. Because, you know, it's really based on minor pentatonic, but there's a lot of flirting with that flat third and major third relationship and just major pentatonic in general. So yeah, I'm going. And then the last note would be the 12th fret on the 4th string. So in context, that would sound like. So again, really harmonica type lick. Just classic slide lick in general. Okay, so the next lick would be starting at the 12th fret on the 3rd string, so that major third right there. And now I'm just going from 12 to 10. So, and then hitting the 12th fret on the 4th string straight, and then sliding back into that 12th fret on the 3rd string. So I'm going. All right. So in context. Very cool. And another key tip is, as far as thumb position, make sure you have your thumb positioned about 3, if not more, frets behind where you're sliding to. Because when you're doing these slides, you don't want your thumb to be moving around at all. You want your thumb to be anchored and reach those slides by just extending your wrist. So, you know, just give you an idea. My wrist kind of looks like that as I'm playing. You'll see some guys with their thumb hang over the top while they're playing with slide, but if you just do that, I mean, you can try it right now. You just won't have as much reach. Like, if I have my thumb way up here, I'm not going to be able to extend as far as if I have my thumb back here. You know, just give the idea. Yeah, like, I can only reach about that far, but if I have my thumb back here, I can reach much higher. You know, that's kind of like my limit right there. But as you can see, it gives you a lot more reach. All right, so that's that lick right there. And the next lick is going to be a harmonica type lick. And first off, the subdivision would be like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so just shuffle eighth notes. And I'm just bouncing between two different notes. So the first note would be starting at the 4th string on the 12th fret and just doing a grace note slide to the 10th fret. So the key there is you want the listener to hone in on that 10th fret note. We don't want the note at the 12th fret to be in the listener's ear. We just want that note to be a grace note to get to that 10th fret. So we don't want to slide into it like, we want it to be a grace note slide, okay? It's like a harmonica being able to do a backwards bend. Same idea with this. And then we're playing the 12th fret on the 5th string, and we're just doing that in eighth notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. How it's written, you only repeat that 2 times, so. But you still get the same idea, so. Alright, that's like the beginning of Rocky Mountain Way by Joe Walsh. Same sort of idea. It's really kind of just a cliche slide lick, really. Alright, so the next lick in the sheet is going to be a play off that. And it's going to be actually the same exact thing, but we're going to turn it into a polyrhythm. So, big word. But what polyrhythm is, at least in this case, is we're taking a 2-note pattern and we're playing it over a subdivision of 3. Okay? So before you even get into that, I want you to count this. So while clapping the downbeat with your hand, go 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. So every time you say 1 2, it flips by starting on 2 on the downbeat. So 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Before you even play the lick on guitar, I really recommend you say that idea out loud while tapping your foot or clapping your hand or something to help you keep time. It's really crucial because Duane's sense of rhythm is really awesome. All right, so that lick itself would sound like this. All right, so a full measure of those triplets. So that can feel really awkward if you're not used to it, but if you practice it enough, I promise you'll be able to get it, and it's gonna sound really awesome. That's actually like the beginning of Statesboro Blues. And triple lick 1, that same sort of idea. All right, so if you're interested in more ideas like this, please follow my Patreon page. I'm going to include tabbed out notation. There's going to be backing tracks with and without guitar on them, so you can play along with the guitar to get the feel for it, and then without the guitar so you can integrate those ideas into your own playing. There are backing tracks I made myself. I made the notation myself. And there's also going to be 5 more licks available exclusively on my Patreon with those backing tracks and notation as well. Please subscribe to my Patreon channel. I promise it's going to be worth your time and money. I've been putting a lot of work into my page lately, so please give me a follow. And also like, subscribe, comment on my YouTube channel. Really helps my channel grow. Thank you again for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers, and let's keep on going. Take it easy, guys. Thank you very much.